Let's get a little housekeeping out of the way before we get into the severe threat for later on today. The sun is shining and it is quiet going into the early afternoon. That development likely later in the afternoon. These are the storm reports from yesterday. Notice where the damage was across, just north of Science Hill there in Pulaski County through central Casey County and then back towards Marion County. This is the area that the National Weather Service is surveying, National Weather Service out of Louisville, Marion, Taylor, and Casey County for possible damage that could be tornado related. So, of course, we'll bring you updates on that as those surveys are completed. Also, the area across Pulaski County that saw multiple storms, those supercells yesterday, got swamped with torrential rainfall. Now, these are radar estimates over the past 24 hours, but they had roughly about, probably about 1 to 3 inches of rain. And multiple rounds that came through there. We're showing 2 to 4 on the higher end. So that's an area that you'll need to watch out for today as well, because as we see this development, we had this cold front settle in. That's where the storms formed yesterday. That boundary is stalled right along the Tennessee border. So we're likely going to see some storms firing up, bubbling up along that front. There's also a complex of storms pushing in from Missouri. And we've got a slight risk that's been expanded for severe storms pretty much across the Commonwealth today, except for a thin sliver of a marginal risk up across northeastern counties. We're going to get back into it, that potential for damaging wind gusts, torrential rainfall, some hail. There is an isolated tornado threat. It doesn't look as good as it did yesterday. It didn't look great yesterday, but we had that handful of warnings. So that's something else that we'll watch out for. But that torrential rainfall and as well the damaging wind gusts from these is something we'll need to look for. Now, the initial firing up of these storms will be along that boundary into our southern counties. And you can already see by mid to late afternoon, this is 3 p.m. on, they'll be fairly widespread across southern counties. The models have had a hard time getting them going and then figuring out where they're going to be heading. I think the general motion is going to be off to the east-northeast. We're showing it primarily impacting folks south of I-64, but I do think there's going to be a northern component to this that this model's not picking up on, where we see some activity later in the evening in the bluegrass, and then eventually it all lifts northeast and out of here. That's shown by, around midnight. It's pretty much done with. And then into tomorrow, the heat's on for Friday. We've still got that chance for a really, really warm, you could call it hot start to the weekend with the wind straight out of the south. Hint of good news, the pollen is knocked down for today, but with that heat and sunshine tomorrow, it's going to be back to high levels. We're already in the upper 70s, low 80s with the moisture pooling back to the southwest. The forecast high tomorrow is going to top out around 90 degrees. So, yeah, it'll be a hot one to start the weekend off. Just keep a very close eye on the development of those strong to more than likely severe storms by later on this afternoon, this evening, bubbling up from down south. Different situation than we saw yesterday where they formed here and dropped south. They're going to be coming the other direction as that front heads back north again. Storms early on, then we'll go partly cloudy. It'll be gusty at times, windy overnight into tomorrow, but that southerly wind is just what's going to crank that heat up to around, that high up to around 90. That is some heat. Our record high is 91. Now, Saturday, I had somebody Facebook message me asking me about that late day storm chance. I think it's primarily going to be overnight and it's Sunday. So if you have Saturday plans, you're probably going to be okay. It'll be very warm. Sunday, showers and storms more likely, and a significant cool down on the back end of that from near 90 to start the weekend off to upper 60s Monday.